I think everyone from time to time faces that existential dread that we're all left to face in our own ways. My impending doom recently was watching the Crunchyroll Anime Awards just for Solo Leveling to win Anime of the Year. So to cope, I went ahead and found something better, something thought-provoking to heal the wounds created by this travesty. Dededede Demon's Destruction happened to come across my list of things to watch, and it immediately stood out. The premise of the show is incredibly interesting, and we'll get to that in a minute, so spoiler warnings for what's to come. I think it's important that we lay out the overall key to the story first. Existentialism is a philosophical way of thinking that makes us think why to basically anything. In this case, why do we exist? If the world were to end tomorrow, there's nothing we could do. Why do we live? Why do we get up in the morning? In Dededede Demon's Destruction, we deal with this question a lot. When an alien mothership shows up one day, but nothing really happens, everyone's left with the same question. Why are we still alive? Life has to go on, but the impending doom of an alien mothership still lingers in the sky. Episode 0 is a prologue and it immediately throws us in. Nobuo is an overworked, absent father too encompassed in his career as an editor to be there for his daughter. One day, Nobuo is watching TV when a giant alien spaceship shows up out of nowhere, and guess what he decides to do? He leaves his daughter at home while he goes on a work run. The alien ship kind of just breaks a ton of shit, but kind of on accident. And this causes a ton of casualties. In instances like this where parts fall off from the ship, would happen a lot. This event would be known as August 31st. Nobuo is struck by falling debris and everything goes black. All he can think about is the regret of not spending more time with his daughter, Dededede. He wakes up, but this world isn't right. Nobuo is informed that he's been unconscious for 8 years and his body was taken over by an invader. A groovy little blue dude living inside him. Now that the little blue dude is dead, Nobuo regains control over his body. But there's so much wrong with the world. People live underground, AI robot surveillance soldiers wander the streets, these red orbs fucking kill people. These two girls go with Nobuo to find a group called New Japan Harmony with hopes of reaching Tokyo and finding Dededede. But of course, boom, bam! Yeah, that doesn't work. New Japan Harmony kind of sucks, and Nobuo hops in a van with other people who just so happen to know his daughter, Dededede. The prologue episode ends there. This episode left me with so many questions. So many things don't make sense. This wouldn't be so hard to grasp if it weren't for episode 1 immediately switching up to a more slice-of-life direction. Episode 1 switches the narratives and begins following the story of Dededede and her best friend Oran before the events of episode 0. The series is going to have us connect a lot of dots for the next 16 episodes, so it's important that we cover the concept of non-linear storytelling is when a story is told in an order that breaks chronological order and instead tells it in a new narrative. This pissed me off at first because instead of finding out how the world got to where it was in episode 0, the show just kind of spoils it. But I used my big brain to conclude that this is how the director wanted me to watch it. There was a reason for the use of non-linear storytelling, and I could kind of sense that that's what the director was trying to, get at. Throughout the rest of the series, I'm trying to find out how the world got to where it was in episode 0. As the story progressed, I was constantly theorizing how the events would play out in order to fit the plot of the prologue. Alright, let's get into the rest of the story, shall we? I'll try and make this quick. Taking a step back, we meet Dededede and Oran, two girls living the most normal lives they can when there's a literal alien fucking spaceship in the sky. When the ship arrived on August 31st, society would be forced to confront a new normal. But behind the scenes, world governments and private organizations would make this event very political and about control and greed. Ironic. The girls have a friend group that's pretty unique, but let's focus on this girl for now, Kiho. She's dating this bowl cut guy, and this will be important later. Also, this weird guy starts showing up, and he acts kind of funny, because it turns out he's an invader living inside a human's body. Kiho breaks up with Bullcut because he turned into this crazy conspiracy theorist only concerned about aliens and how the government was trying to hide their existence. Ironic. Meanwhile, the government made cool-ass energy beams to shoot smaller spaceships out of the sky. This is incredibly problematic though, because when they shoot them down, they land and fucking kill people. And unfortunately, one of the casualties is Kiho. This sends Bullcut down a vengeful path, and Dededede, Oran, and their friends are left to grieve their friend, but they just have to accept it because this is the new normal in their world. But for one moment, the group takes the chance to break down and cry over Kiho, highlighting the cruel and unfairness that this world brings. The scene left me heartbroken. The facade everyone put on in the show that they're all okay, especially Oron, was devastating. This fat guy is Oron's brother, and he's chronically online. He's just like me for real. Oron finds a piece of alien tech and is confronted by the invader we met, Oba. Oron's reality breaks for a second and we go through this weird flashback thingy. When they were little, Kedode claimed to see a UFO, but all the other students bullied Kedode and treated her like a demon. Oron, being the shy and non-confrontational type, sits back and watches. The two end up becoming friends at a summer school, though, where they find a group of kids beating the shit out of an invader. Kedode and Oron, of course, save it and bring it home, like any kid would. Because the two saved the alien, he's grateful and begins sharing details with them. It's here that Kedode gets her hands on some alien tech and goes on a literal killing spree in order to bring her own sense of justice onto the world.
Another. You are evil. I am on the side of the weak.
This leads Kedode and Oron to fight over the actions of Kedode, and eventually Kedode gaslights herself into self-deleting herself from existence. Then Oron snaps back to reality like she just had a revelation or something, and something's off. Why did we see this reality of things that didn't happen? Clearly Kedode didn't self-delete because she's here. Anyways, I'm sure that can't be that important. The military begins killing invaders with hopes to keep them covered up, but it wouldn't be long before their existence becomes public knowledge. Futaba and this femboy kid named Makoto hop on a plane to go to Tokyo for college. While they're on the plane, a spaceship gets knocked down and thousands of little invaders begin falling out of the sky, and Futaba just watches on in horror. Protests and invader rights groups would begin popping up all over Tokyo, and this kind of starts presenting the morality issues that come with a space invasion. On the other side though, Bullcut comes back and begins going on a rampage killing invaders. The half-invader Oba comes into contact with Kedode and Oron, and they become friends. Futaba becomes an invaders' rights extremist, and Bullcut becomes an invaders' wrong extremist. Oba kind of starts slowly revealing things throughout the story that kind of highlight that shit's gonna hit the fan, and fast. It's revealed that the mothership's gonna crash down to Earth, which would be absolutely devastating. Oh, and he becomes a thing with Oron. Episode 13 is a fucking bombshell. We find out that there's alien technology that allows people to shift realities. The past version we saw earlier, where Kedode flies off a building, was like a bad ending. After that, the beach invader helps Oron transfer her conscience to a different version of herself. This version, using the information she had previously, would help stand up for Kedode when she was being bullied, but this would have drastic changes to reality. Because the original timeline had the girls save the invader, he sent a message to the others that Earth wasn't inhabitable, so the invasion never happened. However, the new timeline doesn't have the girls save the invader, which leads the invasion taking place. Oron's aware going to the new timeline could mean the doom of humanity, but chooses to go anyways to save Kedode. Bullcut goes full vigilante and starts killing CIA members. That was interesting. The mothership starts falling out of the sky, and Oba does his best to stop the crash from happening, but is basically unsuccessful. The government also got a bunch of rich and important people on a modern day Noah's Ark to save humanity, where they just kind of like chill up in space. Then this like giant ass finger thing shows up and emits these awful things in the atmosphere called asterisks, and they kill people. Once the mothership falls, Tokyo basically explodes like, I don't know, the Middle East or something. Now before we move on, this is where canonically episode 0 takes place. So now it's what they call August 32nd, or the endless summer, and Nobuo wakes up and all the dots start finally clicking together. The two people that picked Nobuo up were Futaba and Makoto, a detail that I didn't pick up on until now. Rewatching episode 0 felt like everything was a giant aha moment. That brings us to the final episode, where Nobuo and Makoto have this reason to believe that Kedode's dead, and spoiler alert, yeah, and Makoto suggests that Nobuo shifts himself to a new timeline to start over. Makoto won't do the same for himself though, because he's too attached to this timeline. Makoto, Futaba, and Oba stay behind to fight for this world, and Nobuo goes back to a new timeline. How does this fix anything, you're probably asking yourself? Well, Nobuo simply goes back to the timeline and becomes a better father to Kedode. This not only stops Kedode slip and sliding, but also the alien invasion. Finally, the timeline results in Kedode and Oron and their friends being able to live normal lives so they can be happy together. Okay, I know that was a lot, and there's a lot to unpack there. Dededede Demon's Destruction is exactly what I was looking for. This anime is a beautiful coming-of-age story that takes place in a broken world. I don't know about you, but I found myself drawing a lot of parallels to my youth living through the pandemic. The dread and looming doom surrounding being stuck inside became normal, something that really shouldn't have been normal, and we just had to learn to deal with. And while a lot less extreme than an alien invasion, I still found it incredibly touching. The people I was able to connect to at that time were the sole reason that I got through it. And we see this a lot with the relationship between Kedode and Oran. The two need each other, and when they didn't have each other, it created the worst possible timeline. Without these relationships, it's easy to succumb to a crumbling world. One thing I absolutely want to mention about this anime is that everybody fucking sucks. Throughout the entire story, every single person is the worst being imaginable. Kedode goes around killing people as an excuse to make the world a better place. Oran literally sacrifices billions of people and summoned an alien invasion for the selfish reason of bringing Kedode back. This person sucks. This person sucks. They suck. They suck. Everyone sucks. This guy groomed his student. This guy has fuck-ass lips. The only two people I could think of being genuinely good people was Oba, who's half human, half invader, and the fucking neat brother who just wanted to stay out of the problems, not give a shit about anything, and be online. I think it's funny how morally gray the world gets in apocalyptic settings, but as much as I think it's funny, it's probably pretty damn true. I guarantee if the same instance happened on Earth, like in real life, the government would still be up to some shit, and factions would probably start forming based on morality and opposing viewpoints. Overall, Dededede Demon's Destruction was amazing. This was one of the best stories I've seen in a while. It truly maintained my interest throughout the entirety. The art was unique, the music was good, the story was good. My only complaint would be that the ending was slightly rushed, but that's so minor. This is an anime that I highly suggest you watch for yourself if you want, even though I did just spoil the shit out of it. I give this one an 8.7 out of 10. Please subscribe so I can keep making anime videos. Also leave a like, turn the bell on, all that jazz. It really helps. Thanks guys, and don't forget, if an alien spaceship shows up, don't kill each other.